Are you curious as to what type of property inspections you may need when you're looking to put in an offer? Well, I've got the man here with me today who's going to explain all that to you, that there are 3 really important property inspections that you may need when you're looking to put in an offer on a property to make sure that property is going to be exactly what you're looking for. Stay tuned, we're going to share them with you now. Many years, few years since the market's been crazy busy, there's been this thing about waiving contingencies in with offers, so people's offers can get accepted. That came from waiving like an appraisal contingency, so if the property didn't appraise, the person decided, well, I'm going to pay the difference of it because there was multiple offers on the property. But there's another contingency that was waived a lot that can be a detriment to a buyer, and that was the inspection. So in our area, when you put in an inspection period in with an offer, during that inspection period, for the most case scenario, a buyer can change their mind for any reason after they get the inspection report or before. And so there was a lot of cancellations and sellers saying, well, I don't want to have an inspection process because I don't want them to be able to back out. So you had a lot of people waiving this contingency. Now in the current market, where things have started to balance out and there's more properties on the market than there have been for the last couple of years, there's an opportunity to get those normal contingencies put back in to make sure that the property is getting inspected properly, that you're not going to have any big surprises after you close on the property. And sellers are much more receptive and open to it in the past couple of months than they have been in the past few years. So I have brought John Shelton with me today, and he is with AIM Hire Inspections in Panama City Beach, Florida. I've been working with him with my buyers for the past couple of years, and he's done an excellent job for them in making sure that their properties are being inspected and they're aware of any potential issues. And so I want to thank you for being here today with me.
That's right.
I want you to give people a little bit of background about you and your company and what your company offers different than all the other inspection companies out there.
Great. Well, good afternoon from sunny Florida. It's sunny, beautiful day today, beautiful day. Thank you for the opportunity to come on the condo and do this. What sets us apart, there's different ways of marketing and setting yourself apart from other inspectors. What we try to focus on is our standards and our practice. There's 2 of us on the team, myself and my assistant Jason. We do like to say we're one of the highest educated teams in town. We both actually have our master's degree. Jason has his master's degree in teaching, and I have mine in aeronautical science.
That explains a lot about your inspection.
They are very detailed.
Explains a lot.
They are very detailed and in depth, which is what the buyer is looking for when they get that inspection done. Additionally, it explains a lot of my inspection process. Is retired Air Force. I was in the Air Force for 24 years. I retired in 2013. When I retired, I had been an inspector for the Air Force for the last 8 years. My last 8 years, I was doing a lot of inspecting, and I had got my master's degree. And I just wanted to do something that was different. I wanted to be out in the field, and I really enjoyed getting out and meeting different people. And I thoroughly enjoyed producing an awesome product that people go, man, I've never seen a home inspection like this. We spend a lot of time focusing on the major stuff, and we go all the way down to the minor stuff, because the minor stuff may be more important to this buyer than that buyer, but we tried to cover it all different aspects. The other thing that sets us apart from others is we have 2 inspectors on site, so you get twice the eyes, twice the inspectors there, and I think it really helps us to focus when we're doing it. We don't get sidetracked or sometimes we get asked questions. When we have 2 of us, one will field it while the other one keeps on going. So that's just some of the stuff that sets us apart and makes us a unique home inspection company.
And I also love that you guys offer same-day reports.
We
so
do.
That's critical, because when you're putting in a inspection period in an offer, you want to make it as short of an inspection period as you can to make the offers appealing to the seller, but you also want to be realistic. So if I know I'm about to put in an offer, or I just did, I'm texting him immediately and I'm saying, what's your availability to get out to a property for me? And he loves me, so he squeezes me in. But he gets out there, and then we get the report the same day, which I think is really critical. So we have the information, my buyer has the information that they need to make a good decision if they're going to continue to move on with the property.
We do that by on-site typing. We type the reports on site. Before we go to the next one, we're already done with the one.
Yeah.
We drive in the truck. We have the truck all set up that when we're driving, we're constantly working and turning the products out. And then often we'll call the buyer and go, you're going to get a report with quite a few findings. And, here's the 3-5 things that we find of significance above the others. And, they can call us. We can go over the report. Our reports are a little bit different. There's two types nowadays. There's a checklist, which is complies and does not comply, and it's kind of populated, and ours is a narrative form. We take a lot of pictures. We label every picture. A standard report's going to have probably 150 pictures on it. We very seldom get phone calls back on our reports. They just speak in volumes. They're just so in-depth and detailed.
Let's just say you don't want to try to print one of these bad boys out.
I have plenty of ink.
Because if you try to print one of these out, I'm going to probably have to order some new ink the next day because there's so many pictures. But it does help you reference in. And if I'm going to take that report then, if there's some things of major concern to my buyer, that I want to then we want to ask the seller to repair, I've got all the information right there, the pictures reference everything, and if I need any clarification, he's wonderful. I can pick up the phone and talk to him and get clarification if I need it. So it gives us all the information. It's just crystal clear exactly what the concern is on the property. So going into property inspections, a lot of people think there's just one type of property inspection, like the general one that you go out there and do, but there's actually 3 that a lot of times people will need or will want to have on their properties, depending on the age of the property, condition of the property, and a few other aspects, type of financing and things like that. But let's talk about the main one, that's general property inspection. Give people an overview of what you're looking for when you go do just your general inspection.
Yes, ma'am. So the general inspection, we get there and we basically have 10 components, from the roof, the electrical, the air conditioning, the plumbing, the kitchen, the bathrooms. We inspect all the way under the sinks to the different fittings, check for fittings, the attic to the insulation, the roof decking. After Hurricane Michael, we had a lot of interesting work being performed in Panama City, and it actually made our job a lot more demanding, and we find a lot of stuff that we weren't finding before, so definitely a good idea to get that inspection done. So we do a home inspection. Some of you from other states are like, I know what a home inspection is. Well, in Florida it gets a little bit more tricky. So a home inspection is for the buyer, and then in Florida, the insurance company drives a lot of it. We have 2 additional insurance inspections we do. One is called a wind mitigation. So in Florida, what we want to know is what kind of roof do you have? What style of roof? Is it hip? Is it gable? Was the roof decking properly re-nailed when the roof was put on? Does it have hurricane clips? What kind of windows do you have? All these additional things become a report card to your insurance company. So they start your premium off high, and then when we turn the wind mitigation in, those additional discounts that we find on that report will then hopefully lower your insurance premium per year.
Yeah. And those wind mitigation reports are required for every new buyer. So it used to be a time where if the current owner of the property had a wind mit report already on hand, you could use that one if you could get your hands on it and give it to the insurance company. But now it's required, and I don't know if it comes more so in the fact of post Hurricane Michael and how a lot of people have their roofs replaced, etc. But it has to be done for the present time, how the roof is now, because there is a lot that plays into your insurance when it comes to the life of the roof as well. So the wind mit is something I always order just by default, the general inspection, wind mitigation as well. And then there's times for the third type of inspection that we're going to ask you to do a 4-point inspection. So let people know why normally a 4-point inspection would be needed, and what are you actually covering for that report.
So the 4-point report is, again, normally on a home. We have been requested to go do them to condos. Again, insurance in Florida creates quite a few rules. Sometimes what they ask of us is we don't normally do them on condos. Why do we have to on this deal? And they say we have to, so we go do them. The 4-point is the 4 points of the property: the roof, the plumbing, the electrical, and the AC. So it's an interesting process. The way it works is the home inspection is for the buyer. The wind mitigation is trying to lower your annual premium. And then the 4-point is, do I want to insure you? And that's the insurance company. What they want to know is, what's the age of the roof? What's the condition of the roof? If it's over 20 years old, you're going to have a hard time getting insurance. Likewise, the water heater down here, if it's over 11 years old, depending on where it's at, the garage, inside, second floor, attic, different ages add up, and you can understand their concern. If you have an older water heater in your house, it may fail at some point. So we have to document the year. Again, with keeping with the plumbing, there's different pipes they like. If it has galvanized, your premium could be higher. If you have polybutylene pipes, that can be difficult to get insurance with that. So we have to document the roof, what's the condition, the age, the water heater, we have to document the age, the condition, what kind of plumbing pipes are there. And then we roll into the electrical, and we have to, again, document what kind of electrical panels we have. There's certain kind of electrical panels that insurance just won't insure. And that gets really confusing when somebody has been living there for 20 years and they have insurance.
Why? And they've had insurance, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, bam, we go, your buyer can't get insurance because they have the certain kind of panel. And then that's the reason a pre-listing inspection is a great idea before you even list your house. Maybe we can get to that in a little bit. So we have the electrical, what kind of hazards may be there. So roof, plumbing, electrical, and then AC again. Do you have central air? What year is your air conditioner? Is it working? Do you have heat? Do you have wall heaters? Wall heaters, they can get over 300 degrees, so insurance obviously doesn't want that. You have that going, and a child were to bump into that, now we have problems there. So it's an overall, and then if we have issues, then oftentimes they have to be resolved. You can't get insurance, you can't get a loan, can't buy a house. So it's kind of a stepping point to go. It's not nearly as conclusive as a home inspection. It's just the basic information for the insurance company.
And you brought up the pre-list, and I think this is an important aspect because there's been a few instances where I've suggested, I go to a listing appointment, and based on the age of the property, and just kind of condition of the property, where I've suggested that they go ahead and get John to come out and do a full inspection of the property. And it's funny to me because they'll say, oh no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to spend the money to do that up front. So here's what's going to happen. So I'm going to put your property on the market. We're going to get an offer in. They're going to want an inspection. Somebody's going to come out and do the inspection for that buyer, and they're going to see all that stuff that you could have knocked out in advance to get done, and they're either going to decide not to take the property or they're going to ask you to repair all those things. And when you have so many things that need to be done, it just casts a bad shadow on the property itself. So wouldn't it be easier to spend the money up front, get him to come in, we address the things that need to be fixed and get those fixed in advance, so you can then even give that inspection report if you want to the buyer and say, look, we've already had an inspection done on this property. These are the things that we've taken care of. But there's so many sellers that don't want to do this process, which just doesn't seem the way to go, because it's going to make it harder for you once you actually have that buyer go under contract, because then they're going to rip the house to shreds, essentially.
Right. It's a great idea. This is an exact example. I'm not making this up on site. Last week we did a house. It was 1,800 square feet. It was almost $500,000. By the time we were done with the inspection, the roof was shot. They didn't replace it after Hurricane Michael. It went through a Cat 5 hurricane, one of the few still remaining in Bay County. So it needed a new roof. The water heater was over 20 years old. We just talked about that on the 4-point. And they had polybutylene piping. So everybody involved, the contracts, the people wanting to move in, the people wanting to move out. And again, that was grandfathered. The parents had lived there. They moved on. The kids are selling the house for the parents. The kids think their house is worth $500,000 because that's what the neighbor's house sold for. But when we compare apple to apples, I mean, they needed $40,000, $50,000 to replumb the house, for a new water heater and a new roof. And now all of a sudden those things are bringing to light.
Well, and now think about it too. Now, a couple of those things, the insurance company would have caught. They wouldn't have let it through with the hot water heater and the roof. But think about if it had been 6 months ago when the market was still just going crazy busy, and there was multiple offers on this property, and those people they'll say, well, we won't do an inspection on the property. Okay, so it still would have caught up to them to some degree because they needed a new roof, so it wouldn't have got through insurance. But there's a lot of people out there, I think, in the last couple of years that have purchased that have forego an inspection that I just wonder, what the gotchas are going to be after the fact that they close. Now, condos are a little different story because, like this is a 2007 building, everything is in really nice condition. So there are some times where, especially with me going in and previewing a property and looking for my buyers, or they come in town and look themselves, that they may say, no, I don't think we need an inspection. But if it's a single family home, and especially something that's like of any kind of age to it, for all the things that he's been talking about, you really need to have it done, because at the end of the day, it's going to be you footing the bill to fix anything after you close. And then you guys do a lot of other type of inspections for homeowners and such too. So list a few more that you guys do besides just the property ones.
So we list indoor air quality testing. That's a different word for using for testing for mold. When we come in, oftentimes we see microbial growth in the air handler closet, around the water heater. That's a college word for mold. You can't you're not supposed to say mold until you have it tested, because you don't know what kind it is. You don't know if it's fungi growth or if it's actually mold. So we can do what's called air samples. We take them and I overnight them to Virginia and then have the results back the next day. So it's a very quick turnaround on that. Not a major purchase. It's a great idea to do. We do foundation certifications for mobile homes. Normally the banks require that. They want to make sure that the property that they're lending money on is going to be driven off the site. Well test, testing the water to see if it's compatible. The asbestos testing, lead-based testing.
Hopefully I won't see that much anymore.
Right.
It's a rarity, but I guess you can come across it. Now I can tell you from my experience, with my buyers, that John does an amazing job for them, but he does tend to scare the you-know-what out of them when they get the report, because he is very, very, very detailed, and probably 99% of the reports will have the microbial growth somewhere on there, and so everyone goes, mold, and it's like, no, that's not necessarily what this is. It's a rarity that it is, but some of these older properties and older condos that were built in the 80s, they got some, they can have some iffy stuff going on. They got, pipes that have, bust or something, or air conditionings that haven't been properly maintained. And so there's some things, and not to say it's mold, but it could be a really strong case of mildew. And if you watch my other video about walking through properties, I said when I walk in, I always take a big smell in to see how a property smells, because there's like a certain odor that comes with that mildew, So, but he's a great guy to give you all the resources. I really appreciate you coming today and helping out, let people know a little bit more about it. There's a lot that goes on with inspections, and especially now in this market, don't cut yourself short. Don't waive this particular type of contingency off of your offer, because you just want to have that peace of mind when you're asleep at night that you made a good sound decision and the house or the property is in great condition and such. So all of his information will be at the end of this video, so you can contact him directly if you have any questions. Of course, if you're a buyer of mine and you need an inspector, this is going to be my go-to guy. I'm going to put you with, and he can get it done for you really good. So thank you so much for joining us today. I'd love for you to subscribe to my YouTube video and like it, comment, share. I appreciate the support. I put out educational videos every single week. And if you're ready to start your property search, check out my website. You can get properties to your inbox every single day when you're ready to have a conversation about buying a beautiful property in Panama City Beach or the Destin area or anything along the Gulf Coast. Give me a call and we can chat. Thank you so much, and have a great day. Bye.
Bye.